Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! A bit of backstory first. This petty revenge started when I was 9, and I was a small boy for 9, 77 pounds. So the petty revenge starts in a smaller town in Ireland. I was in a primary school / elementary school. I wasn't very popular, but I just kept to myself in my friend group of 4. The biggest kid in the popular group was David. David, the entitled child, didn't care about me for most of primary school until 4th grade, when we went to a forest park on a field trip. Most of the class was playing Bulldog Takedown. I decided not to because I had overindulged on McNuggets and felt sick. So I just sat down and cheered for James, my best friend. For some reason, this personally offended David, and he went over to me and dragged me onto the area where they were playing. He then said, "You're in play now," lifted me up and slammed me into the ground, breaking my collarbone and putting me in hospital. I don't have a picture from the time, but I'll link a picture of the bump I still have nowadays. David got off with a warning because he claimed it was a mistake, and it was just a game of Bulldog. But from then on, I was enemy number 1 in his eyes. Over the next year, he tormented me with little things like taking my pins and purposely kicking the ball at my head. But then the worst incident happened on our 5th class field trip, when we went to an adventure center with no parents for 2 days. On the first night, all the boys were in one room and just having fun with some light pushing and shoving. David then picked me up on the top bunk and threw me into a bed frame, which split my head open. Again, I don't have a picture from the time, but I will link a picture of the scar I still have nowadays. I finally told my parents David was bullying me, and they made me move schools from my last year of elementary school. I remember when they told me, I shouted at them, "You're ruining my life!" because I don't make friends easily. A year later, we decided to move from a small town in the Midlands to Dublin, the biggest city in Ireland. I was happy with that because I was going to have to start a new school anyway. Fast forward 3 years, and it turns out after growing a bit, I'm pretty good at rugby. I got a scholarship to a very expensive rugby school in Ireland, which cost around 10k a year, and worked my way up to sitting on a board of 4 people to decide on what rugby player are given scholarships. The board had 4 people on it: the principal, our rugby coach, the director of rugby in our school, and a player on the rugby team. And that would be me. We had a meeting every Wednesday where players that scouts had recommended would speak to us and tell us why they deserve a scholarship, and in order for a player to get a scholarship, the vote would have to be unanimous. And one day, David appeared. He walked into the room full of energy and ready to speak to us. And as soon as I saw him, I knew it was David, but I could tell he didn't recognize me. He spoke for about 25 minutes and I just sat there smiling and trying not to laugh. As soon as I spoke, I saw his eyes open wider. He recognized me, and I could almost see him shudder. He knew he was not getting the scholarship. I spent 10 minutes taking apart every single good thing he said about how he played until my coach intervened. In the end, he got 3 out of 4 votes. 3 out of 4 votes meant he didn't get a scholarship, but he could still pay the 10k euros to get in, which he did. By the time he was on my team, everyone knew what he did to me, and his life was like 3 weeks of hell. After 3 weeks, he left the rugby team, and I found out through the principal that he left the school. This story is not about my family, but rather my friends. My friend's grandmother recently died and excluded everyone from the will. She may be gone, but gave them the bird on the way out. About 3 years ago, my friend's grandfather died and left behind a wife, 5 kids and 8 grandkids. After a grievance period, the 5 kids being greedy began wanting their share of the pie. In my state, due to the deed not being him or her, the 5 kids were now legally entitled to 50% of his assets. I don't know if this is a correct terminology, but basically the deed reads him and her, which means if the house is worth 200,000, the 5 kids split 100,000 and the wife gets the other 100. This poor old lady who had lived in his house for over 30 years with her husband had to sell because she had to pay out her kids. Once she sold the house, she had to move into a retirement community, not a nursing home, because none of the 5 kids allowed her to stay with them. She also didn't have enough money to go and buy a house either. Well, she ended up dying a few months ago and left not a single thing to the family. Unknown to the family, she transferred everything she owned to her friend. The remaining assets such as a boat and 2 cars and all her jewelry. In my state, if you receive nothing from your parents, you can attest the will and say she forgot about you and get some compensation. She ensured that there was not a single ounce of compensation. She studied the law closely and did everything she could to ensure no one could get anything. She cancelled her life insurance, turned all her money into cash and gave it away, changed all the titles to her friend's name legally, sold all her jewelry to her other friend, and even sold her furniture and rented out furniture from the community center. Things like plates, cutlery, blankets were hers, so I guess they can fight over forks and blankets. After all of this, when she died, she had $3,000. That was able to be considered assets, but knew that her furniture cost would far exceed $3,000. It would be left to kids to pay. Plus, she also opened credit cards, which she had to, and maxed them out buying things for friends and going on 4 senior cruises, which I never heard of but sounds awesome. I am sure the bank will do anything and everything in their power to recover what they can. My friend is very upset that he lost his grandmother and to find out that his parents treated her like this. He assumed it was the kid's idea for her to live in a community and she made the decision on her own. From what he told me, each kid would have received more money from her than her dad because of the life insurance policy she had. I am not very knowledgeable in the proper terms that are used in legal processes like this, so I apologize in advance if I'm using the wrong terminology. I also don't know why she cut out the grandkids. Some of them are around 10 years old. My guess was that she was afraid the parents would get a hold of it. So for some background, my friend 16 recently went on a cruise with her family. She had a great time during the cruise and met a lot of interesting people. However, there was one family that seemed a little too much for her to handle on her own. Friend's dad tells my friend to go get something from their room and friend obliges. About halfway there, the little kid walks up to my friend. "Wow, that's a nice bracelet. Where did you get it?" So my friend told her. Friend had to walk about 100 miles to get all the charms attached to it. "Wow, thanks." The little kid then runs off to what my friend assumed to be her mother. They both went in the direction of the pool and, for a while, things went smooth. That is until the absolute mammoth of an entitled mother shows up. "Hi there, sweetie." Hi. "I couldn't help but notice your beautiful bracelet." "Oh, thanks." "It's so sad my daughter doesn't have one." My friend reads this up. Her entitled sense was tingling big time. "And I was wondering if she could have yours." "I'm sorry, but I worked hard for this. I don't have to give it up." "Come on, you're a teenager. Bracelets like that are for little girls like my kid." "I'm sorry, but my answer is still no." And this is when things go, well, sideways. She skips straight past the passive-aggressive phase to the pure aggression stage. "Listen here, you damn C-word. You're gonna give me that bracelet now, or things are going to get messy." My friend has anxiety, so at this point she's on the verge of tears. "For the last time, no." "Stupid girl, don't raise your voice at your superior." Yes, a random woman on a cruise ship said this to a 16-year-old kid. "Now give me the bracelet." The entitled mother was now trying to yank the bracelet off of her wrist, and she managed to break my friend's skin. Ow! What is wrong with you, lady? My friend is crying at this point.
You deserve that for being so disrespectful, you witch.
And now it's time for a slight justice boner. All the commotion and the odd amount of time that had passed since my friend left had attracted the friend's father. When he saw his daughter being harassed and hurt by the entitled mother, he was understandably pissed. Hey, what do you think you're doing?
I'm teaching my daughter to be less selfish and to share with her little sister.
She claimed my friend as her daughter. What the hell? I don't even know you. My friend said.
Stop being so deviant, Marisa, and come back to our room.
Friend's dad asks her, so you're her mom?
Duh, who else would I be?
That's funny, considering I'm her father. The look on her face was a priceless mix of shock and fear, and I don't remember ever marrying a pig like you.
How dare you insult me and my daughter?
Okay then, if she really is your daughter, what is her name?
Marissa, obviously.
That's not my name.
You're in enough trouble already. Don't lie about your damn name too.
Friend's dad says, well, her name is F. Yeah, like it says on the name tag every passenger is supposed to wear.
Well, you should...
I've already called security, don't bother. The little kid who had just come back from the pool.
Mommy, why is this man angry at you? He's saying your sister is theirs. But I don't have a sister.
The entitled mother went white. She was apprehended by security a few minutes later. My friend's dad pressed charges for child endangerment and attempted kidnapping of a minor and managed to compensate the entire price of my friend's ticket, roughly $1,400, and she served about 2 months of jail. A couple of days ago, I was looking for bargains at our local grocery outlet, a US chain which specializes in procuring overstock items, factory seconds, and closeout items from name brand and private label suppliers. I love shopping there, as one never knows what might be available on any given day, and the prices are usually much lower than what the items originally sold for. My concentration was broken though when I heard the thud and the sound of falling merchandise at the end of the aisle I was shopping in. I looked up to see a woman about the same age as me. I'm a 76 male who had accidentally clipped a display filled with bags of marshmallows with her cart, knocking that cardboard display over and scattering the bags down the aisle. Seeing the shocked look on the woman's face, I just said, "Here, let me help you with that." I stood the display back up and she and I corralled the escaped bags of puffy goodness and stacked them back up like they had been. It only took us a couple of minutes. When we were done, we exchanged "have a good day," smiled at each other, and went our respective ways. I didn't think about it. I finished shopping and found myself standing at the back of one of the long, busy checkout lines behind several other shoppers with full carts. Suddenly, a clerk appeared at my elbow and indicated that I should bring my cart and follow her over to one of the closed registers, where she motioned me to unload my cart. Cool, I thought. They are opening up another register. So I went to grab the "This lane is closed" sign to hand it to her. But she said, no, just leave it there. It was then that the light bulb came on in my brain. They were temporarily opening up a register just for me. This VIP treatment had to be the store's way of thanking me for helping that lady. That was just so cool. It still puts a smile on this old face. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.